For your viewing pleasure, we welcome you to the Cast Iron Man Cooking Show, live from Mike Murray's parents' backyard in beautiful New Jersey. People who think New Jersey is a swamp have just not visited. They haven't seen the lovely highways and the tarmac of the Garden State Parkway, the crowded beaches, and the half-assed amusement parks. So join us as we make some summertime ribs. Oh, it's me. I'm here, guys. The bad radio man is gone. We're going to make some summertime ribs here, but what do we need with them is some coleslaw. What we're going to need for our coleslaw is a red and a green cabbage. I think that the color contrast is critical. We don't want just all green cabbage. There's obviously going to be some carrot in there as well, which will be a nice orange color. And we don't want a absolutely sopping, drenched coleslaw, you know, the kind of coleslaw you get at a shitty deli. We're going to make some kind of in the middle of the road wetness coleslaw. And I'm going to show you how I do it. I put some stuff in there, which I don't know if you put in there. Do you put relish in your coleslaw? Well, you could try this one, see how you like it. Chop up the cabbage as best you can, kind of shaving it off. It can be tough if your knife is not absolutely razor sharp to cut cabbage and you don't want to enlist the services of a mandolin or something like that. But just do the best job you can. It's not really that big of a deal if it's not all uniform, because when you crush it down and combine it with the dressing, it's going to come together and wilt a little bit. Now, we need a carrot. We need at least one medium carrot to go into our coleslaw as well. That's going to provide that nice orange color and a little bit more sweetness. Even though I put sugar in here, don't tell anybody that. I know that's a cardinal sin of coleslaw making in the South. I don't know if that's true at all. Go ahead and grate that carrot, after you've peeled it, of course, into your cabbages. And we're going to move on to making our dressing, which is going to start with some regular mayonnaise. Hellman's mayonnaise is what I generally use. And that's going to be followed by relish. Ingredients are going to be in the description, guys, as always. Next is going to be mustard, a little Gulden's Dijon, not Grey Poupon. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I like the Gulden's Dijon better. It's a little bit milder on the acid side. Smoked paprika, cholula, garlic powder, onion powder, those are all going in. Celery seed is next, followed by cracked black pepper, salt, and finally some sugar and apple cider vinegar. Like I said, medium wetness, medium dampness to the coleslaw. Not a sopper. We don't want a sop job, okay? We just want to bring it together after it's all mixed, and then finally dump it into our cabbage carrot mixture, which we will stir together with a glove. I think you got to use a glove for this, just because you kind of you got to torque at the veggies a little bit, and I think that it calls for a little bit of tactility. You know, you don't get that type of touch with the introduction of a big wooden spoon. Mix, mix, mix. Keep going. Just make sure all of the cabbage and the carrot is coated. And look at that, we got a nice kind of medium grade gauge coleslaw. That's going to be perfect to serve with our ribs. Okay, the ribs themselves, right? We got to throw these in the oven. We're going to go 300 degrees for about 3 hours. But first, we are going to line our baking sheet with some foil to make the cleanup job a little bit easier. Dump about a quarter cup, or a little bit more than a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar in the bottom of the sheet pan. And then whenever I trim up my ribs, I always put them in another stainless steel sheet pan, just so I don't have to rinse an entire cutting board or scrubber down. So I put it in a sheet pan, and I'm just going to trim off some of the undesirable pieces of fat here. You should be able to tell them pretty obviously. They're really hard and tough. You don't want any part of that. You can look for bone fragments too. I found only a little tiny one. And then, of course, try to grab up that membrane that might be residual on the underside of the ribs. Sometimes it comes off in a clean stroke, and sometimes it does not. In this case, it did not, and it was a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's all in good fun. You know, I was listening to a podcast, and it greatly enriching the quality of my brain, or perhaps even polluting it. Who's to say? Who's to pass judgment? That is not a discussion for a rib video. So, yeah, your ribs are sitting there on top of your grate, and now you're just going to want to cover them up really tightly with aluminum foil on both sides. I'm a horrible aluminum foil coverer. I generally screw it up pretty bad, just like with my bowl thing. You know, I never know the right size bowl. I'm pretty bad with covering stuff with foil, but this was one of my better jobs, I gotta say. Pop it in the oven, set your timer for 3 hours, and then go play video games and what else do people do? I don't know. What do people occupy their time with? Oh, just browse social media mindlessly. BBQ sauce. We are going to do ketchup. More of my favorite Golden's Dijon. Espresso. Water. Dump that in a medium saucepan, one that is large enough to control an annoying simmer that'll splatter all over your backsplash or your microwave if you have a microwave directly above your stove. We're still going to need to add quite a few spices into our barbecue sauce to complete it. So I'm going to include those, like I said, in the description. I'm not going to list them all here just because it is really a lot. I feel like barbecue sauces have a very kitchen sinky type feel to them. And I really don't know if it's probably so incredibly hard to screw it up, to be honest. You got to make a tragic error in terms of your ingredient choice to mess it up. And it's certainly fun to experiment with to see what you could do. Like, for instance, I put cocoa powder in this at some point, which I just think is going to help enhance the overall depth of this because we're putting chipotles in and the brown sugar, and it's going to give that real, like, dark, ambery quality to the sauce itself and the caramelization on the ribs when they are cooking over our open fire. Give those chipotles a good chop, and they should be pretty darn soft already, but chop them up, throw them in your saucepan at the end, and then whisk your sauce together over medium heat. This is really just going to reach kind of a simmer/boil, and then let it do that for 10 minutes, 15 minutes under control because, yeah, it splatters a lot. It's so smooth. Let that simmer and then just pop it off the heat after about 15 or 20 minutes. You could reduce it more, I mean, if you want a thicker sauce. But for the most part, this is a very quick and easy process. You should absolutely never go buy barbecue sauce unless you are, friends with a barbecue pitmaster. So right now, I'm just going to take a break from doing this breathless voiceover and let you guys enjoy the sounds of crumpled newspaper and the bird wars which take place on my property. So after 3 hours, your ribs are going to be super tender, and you're going to have to be really careful with them. This is, probably not the best idea that I had in terms of making the ribs because the grate is so big, but it was okay in the end. I was worried. It's fine. It's important to, as soon as you put the ribs on the grill, to sauce them continuously. Sauce each side. Flip and sauce. Flip and sauce. Here's our first flip coming up. And as you can see, you have to be super ginger with them. If you're on a regular gas grill, you might encounter the same issue. Just use 2 big pairs of tongs or spatulas so you can flip them and then sauce them. And flip and sauce, just cover all the parts, get all that nice barbecue sauce on there so it caramelizes over the fire. Like right now, the underside of the ribs are become really dark and brown. And you can see now when I do this flip how it'll be nice and charred and crispy. All that fat is rendering out. And if you do it on a gas grill, there's a lot of flare-up danger. So it's pretty nice to do it on the charcoal grill. I'm going to rejoin you guys in just a minute. Please just enjoy the sounds of saucing over and flipping. Saucing over and flipping.
now Rocky Raccoon went up to his room, only to find Gideon's Bible.
Rocky had come, equipped with St. Louis-style ribs. That's it, guys. It's over. Go grab one of your favorite beers and enjoy these ribs outside, because it's summertime, baby.